How does the Song of Moses begin? This is the question that we seek to answer today as we continue our verse-by-verse study of the book of Deuteronomy on walking through the Bible. If you have a Bible with you, turn to Deuteronomy 32. We're going to be reading from verses 1 to 3. If you don't have a Bible, don't worry. Just follow along with us on the screen. The version that we'll be reading from is the New King James Version. So Deuteronomy 32, beginning at verse 1. Give ear, O heavens, and I will speak, and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. Let my teaching drop as the rain, my speech distill as the dew, as raindrops on the tender herb, and as showers on the grass. For I proclaim the name of the Lord. Ascribe greatness to our God. Over the next 6 lessons, we're going to be looking at what is often referred to as the Song of Moses. In chapter 31, God commanded this song to be composed and sung before Israel as a witness of God against them, and what would befall them when they fell away from God and served idols. With this in mind, then, the song is directed principally to a contrasting of the unchanging faithfulness of the Almighty with the anticipated perversity and unfaithfulness of his people. The song can be properly divided into 6 parts. Part 1, the introduction, found in verses 1 to 3, is what we will be covering in just a few moments, and is where the importance of the doctrine to be delivered is announced. In part 2, found in verses 4 to 6, the blamelessness and excellency of Jehovah is placed in contrast with the corruptness and perversity of Israel. Part 3, found in verses 7 to 18, the folly and ingratitude of the rebellious people is discussed. Part 4 covers verses 19 to 23 and is where the purpose of God to punish and reject the rebellious generation is declared. Part 5 is found in verses 24 to 34 and is where the fulfillment of this purpose in the judgments which should come upon the rebels is discussed. And finally, Part 6, found in verses 35 to 43, describes the judgment which God would execute on the enemies of Israel and the mercy he would show to his servants. When read as a whole, this song is a beautiful song which should have brought to the mind of Israel the importance of serving God faithfully and not going after idols. Now to the song itself. Perhaps one of the worst chapter breaks in all the Bible, the chapter should have begun in chapter 31, verse 30, which said, Then Moses spoke in the hearing of all the assembly of Israel the words of this song until they were ended. I have no idea why the people who put chapters and verses in the Bible decided to break the chapter there, but they did. And so if you're simply reading the Bible by chapters, it really does provide a weird ending to chapter 31. With the first 3 verses of the chapter providing the introduction to the song, what do we find here? Well, the song begins by calling on the heavens and the earth to hear these words. Now, why might the song begin this way? Because what is about to be said, God is using as a witness against Israel. Those heavenly hosts, what we usually call angels, are going to bear witness to what God is saying through Moses here, not because God is untrustworthy, quite the opposite, in fact, because God is trustworthy. These heavenly hosts are going to be able to testify that God always means what he says. But even those on the earth are called to witness God's words as well, and for the very same reason. We're going to find in this song that God punishes the wicked in Israel and avenges the righteous. How would he do this? Through the use of other nations that Israel did not know. Since Deuteronomy was written long before God's punishment of Israel came, even those nations might be able to come to know about the true God of heaven and what he is able to accomplish. Coming to verse 2, we find that it was desired that the teaching found in this song would drop as rain and distill as the dew. When it comes to rain, we know that there is a difference between a gentle rain and a powerful rainstorm. Gentle rains are calm and refreshing, while powerful rainstorms, even though they bring with it the same water as the gentle rain, often bring with it powerful destruction. The teachings here were not meant to be seen as this violent rainstorm that would destroy everything in its path, but rather this gentle rain that would permeate the heart, turn it to God, and produce the fruits of righteousness only found in God. And such is the same intent of the doctrines found in the New Testament as well. To those who are not Christians, the God of the Bible seems like a stern, mean God who wants to ruin all my fun. To the Christian, though, the same God, with the same teaching, is seen as a loving, caring God who desires to protect us from evil and save us from sin. Christians recognize that sin, though it sometimes looks like fun in the moment, leaves behind in its wake sorrow and despair. So the doctrines of the Lord that tell us to keep away from sin are not a burden, but a blessing. That is what Moses is trying to get Israel to realize about the teachings of God in this song. Only a truly great and awesome God could reveal these truths to us, which is why Moses is calling on Israel to join him in proclaiming the name of Jehovah, to celebrate the name of Jehovah in all that he is and all that he has done for them, by that point, leading them from Egypt up to the promised land. For us, we sometimes sing the song, How Great Thou Art. Do we really understand what we're singing there? We're not saying that God is great like last night's dinner was great. We're saying that God is powerful, that God is to be revered because of who he is and what he has done for us in sending Jesus Christ to die on the cross for our sins. We serve a great and awesome God, a point we should never forget. We'll continue with the Song of Moses, the Lord willing, in the next lesson. With that, our time is up for today. Lord willing, we hope you'll join us for tomorrow's discussion of Deuteronomy 32, verses 4 to 6, as we continue our walk through the Bible, one verse at a time. Thank you for watching today's episode. We hope that you found it edifying and ask that you not only subscribe to our channel and podcast, but that you like and share this episode among your friends, so that the saving gospel of Jesus Christ can go out to the whole world.